Hi, and welcome to View. I'm Lynn, Mayo, the exhibition manager here at View, and I'm joined by Susan Cox tonight to talk about shipping and packaging. We are going to go through sculptural shipping and also some framed shipping as well. I'm going to hand it over to Susan, and please feel free to enter any questions into the chat. Thank you.
Hi, so thank you, Kelsey, for having me. I'm excited to be doing this and we'll probably get tongue-tied, but that's okay. I ship glass, and glass is, as you know, very fragile and can break. So there are some basic ways of shipping that galleries will approve of. So I use a box that gives ample space for the piece without too much space to rattle around. I always put an image on the front with what it is I'm sending. So this one is the smallest part of a 3-part piece. So I've just circled what it is. Inside, I have instructions for how to put the piece together if it requires putting together. And I always have my name on the outside of it. So this is the piece we're going to pretend ship today. It's a sturdy piece of glass, not easily broken. So this one is easy to ship. And I'm showing this to you because, before I get to the more complicated one, because it's straightforward. I start with a thick layer of foam. This I got these egg crate foams. I actually I like that they crate together, but I also like a slightly firmer piece than this is, which I will show you in a minute. But I put a nice thick layer down, and then I start cutting an appropriate size out of the foam to hold my piece. I use a large cutter, and I draw on here in magic marker.
Yep.
Thank you. And then just cut it out. So this goes in, and then I fit the piece into that, and I will show you in a second. So it sits looking like this. Does that show?
Yep.
Okay. On top of that goes the next piece, which has it cut out also. And it snugs in. That comes pretty even to the top of the piece. So then I fill the rest of the box with additional squares. I want the box full to the top. I don't necessarily want to have to push down on it, but I want it full. And then it's just packaging it up. This then goes into a second box. So when I'm shipping glass, I always use 2 boxes. The next one will be just slightly larger. I fill it with either scraps of the foam or bubble wrap, but I don't want this box to move around inside the other box. The idea is to make the glass as stable and free of movement as possible. So this goes into the next box. I put the address and everything on it. If I have instructions, they go here, and I ship it off. So that is the easy one.
And we do have a question. Where do you purchase your egg crate from?
I got this from, it's a really good question. I should have looked up. Do you know where?
I know you can get large quantities if you know you're shipping a lot from Uline.
Yes, that's where I got it. I got
Yeah.
a large box. You can cut it up. You can keep all the scraps because you can use the scraps later for fill-ins.
And
So-
also, if you use Amazon, you can get it on there too.
Right.
Yeah.
So the next piece I'm going to do is this one. It's not a great piece of glass art, but it has some specific problems. Do you want me to move over a little bit?
Yes.
So when I was envisioning this, I knew that there were sort of this heavy middle part, and I couldn't put it together and ship it just like that. So it came, I made it in 3 parts. So there's that side and that side, and the heavy middle. So the way I did that.
And thinking about how you're going to ship something as you make it can be a very important aspect. Because if you make something and then realize, oh, wow, this actually isn't gonna fit in a box or come apart in any way, then it's too late. So planning ahead of time is very good.
Yes, thank you. So the first thing when you open the box, and we're going to pretend that this is just arrived at the gallery. So it comes like this, you open it up. There was a picture on the outside and my name. So a picture of what's inside and my name. Now, when I shipped this, it was inside a second box. So my name and my picture of what was inside were not on the outside of the box. When the gallery shipped it back to me, they didn't bother with the outside box. So you might want to be sure and say, use 2 boxes. So they open it up and it's foam and the instructions for putting it together. And this one you can see would be a little confusing. So I've numbered on, as we go further, I've numbered the pieces and then it goes together. So the top, this is a firmer foam. I like this foam a lot. I haven't been able to find it again, but it's a little bit firmer, but also easy to cut. So the top piece is 2 inches of just padding. The next piece, and we're going to take the top couple pieces off. So the next piece I have, the way you put it together is you start, I'm doing this backwards. You start at the bottom. So underneath this piece are several inches of additional foam. This is the first piece I'm putting in. It's not, this piece doesn't go in yet, so I've labeled put this piece and this piece in. So we will do that. This is piece 1. And it slides in. And this is and it slides in. And I'm just going to tilt this up a little bit. You can see them in there. They're not stable yet, but they're in their spot. The cutout tells you where to put it. And then I put the second one, which tells you when to put the piece 3 in. So this, I've got it firmly in here, so there's a little bit of wiggling to get everything where it belongs. And we end up with that. More stable. Is that showing up? Yeah.
Yep.
And now it's time to put this piece in. And this one takes a little maneuvering, but it goes in firmly also. And you have all 3 pieces in. There's a top piece to hold them all in place. And that goes in. This, I'm sure, seems like overkill, but when you've spent a lot of time and money on your work, you want to pack it properly. This would be a great packing for pottery, for cast pieces, even something delicate like a paper mache that you want carefully done. If you've made the form properly, it'll hold it in place. And then on top of this goes the final piece.
And a way of getting that cutout spaces, the initial one you can set down on the foam and then trace around it as well.
And then it's a matter of tracing and cutting to get the rest of them in. So this is a day's project. You just take your time. And then when I ship it, the instructions go in.
And these instructions are so important in more complicated pieces to unpack. It's really helpful to the gallery to have those unpacking instructions on top. Yeah.
Yes. Because you don't want them unpacking without knowing what they're unpacking.
And that's why that photo is excellent as
And
well.
also, I often put a photo inside and I label the photo inside. I just did not have that handy. And then you wrap it up and you put it in another box and finish it. So this came, I know it was not done properly because the label's here, and they put all kinds of signs like, don't stack, which, no, please don't, because you'll break it. So that's, I think we need the other one.
I think that one's okay, yeah.
Okay. So, any questions about this?
Oh, we do have a question. Do you send US Post or private, like UPS or FedEx, or how do you find the prices since size and weight are considered?
So if you're packing glass, Glass Art Society can get special pricing from UPS and FedEx, I think. If I'm paying for it myself, I prefer UPS. I don't like the way FedEx has handled things. And I've never shipped to the post office.
Yeah, I've used UPS and FedEx. I've also done international shipping, which look into the reviews of each of those companies. Highly recommend that. And also ask other colleagues that work in a similar medium to you and have shipped in similar ways, because they might have a suggestion as well. Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Nope, that's it. So
Okay.
I can move on to two-dimensional work. So the first thing I want to go over is a lot of people, when they're shipping framed work, think about just wrapping it in bubble wrap and then sticking it in a box. But a lot of your framed work is glass. So you need to think about it in glass context as well. Also, this bubble wrap, this side of the bubble can leave marks on the glass or the plexiglass. And you obviously don't want your piece arriving damaged just because this was laying on the front. If you want to avoid that, you can wrap your piece in brown paper, right? So lay it out and then install it on there, wrap it up almost like you're wrapping a Christmas present, then do the layered bubble wrap. Now, if that's not enough to just ship that in a box, it's still gonna have weak points on it. My highest recommendation is if you spend all this time painting or printing a piece of two-dimensional work and you paid for this really well-framed thing, don't cheap out on your box. The best boxes I can recommend are these strong boxes. And they've basically done all the work for you. So you don't have to do, like Susan just explained, all this cutting. You don't have to do that for the piece. This company already has 3-side boxes. They even come with a little handle on them, so it's easy to carry. And you can see like this person has reused it several times. They really truly are strong and can be reused. So when you open this box up, it has a stronger piece of plastic on top to protect from like punctures. So that's the first layer. And then you have a layer, the foam. And then also, instead of the edges being able to just hit the cardboard, there's another ring of foam. And then below that is the same. You have that foam again, and then you have that plastic part back. So that's giving you several layers of protection. And also, so this piece that belongs in here fits exactly snug inside. So you're not worrying about wiggle room and any bashing. So highly recommend this as just you can order it online and it will come to you, and then that's the least amount of work. Now, if you need to do your own, you're basically going to want to build this type of box again. You can go and order your U-line foam, cut it out, create those borders, and have either double stacks of cardboard or a piece of foam core, or you can also do plastic sheeting as well to do that, protect from, if you think of anything dropping on this, it can puncture through and hit the glass. So yeah, that's the best way to package your 2D work. And another thing to consider is your taping. Don't just put 2 tape lines here. That's bound to just snap open. Make sure you're doing all the seams. And even the seam is good to do. And also labeling your name. And then on the inside, when you open it up, you can have your name and the title of the piece and an image if you want, similar to what Susan said. And I see I have a question. What business sells the boxes and do they come fit out with the foam? I assume they come in a variety of sizes. They do come in a variety of sizes and they also come with the foam in them. So if you just Google Strong Box, the original art supplier, it will come up, and they have different coding systems for the sizes. And I know you get like more of a discount if you order more of them. If you work in like the same size, I recommend that. But also, when this comes back to you, it's going to look pretty similar. I've seen ones that have clearly been marked several times and been shipped all over, so they will stand up. Okay, do you have anything?
Yes, I have peanuts.
Oh, yeah, so yeah, let's talk a little bit about the don'ts of shipping. So those were all the good, you want to be doing these things that we just talked about. The one thing we said, don't put this on your glass. Another big don't is packing peanuts. So packing peanuts, when you look, I don't even have any here because yeah, we don't want them in here. What happens is, so it looks like a big shape like this, but if any weight hits that, it just will immediately crush down. And that will happen in shipping. Just watch somebody load the box into their van and you'll understand why. But the packing peanuts will just squish down and it will cause the art piece to just move around and keep swaying inside. We get sometimes people that are just, they'll have their piece, they'll bubble wrap it once, and then they'll just fill up a bunch of peanuts and then throw it in there and hope that's good. But what happens is those peanuts sink or they move, they squish, and by the time it gets here, you just have one single piece of bubble wrap right against the cardboard, and you have a broken frame or a broken piece of glass. So packing peanuts are your worst enemy.
And gallerists hate them.
Yes, yeah, gallerists, we absolutely hate them. They get everywhere. They're not great for the environment. They're just a total mess, and we can't pack back up very well with them. We have to end up taking out all of them, dumping them out, putting some in the bottom, repacking and shoving them in, pushing them in. And then we don't like them because then what if it breaks when it's leaving our gallery as well? It's not great. So really do avoid packing peanuts. And there is nothing better than just foam. The foam works well. It can be reused. It can be cut down. It can be cut into strips for different things. If you even have a little piece and you're like, oh, I can't use this. Well, it might be able to be strips on the side. Another good one I've seen recently that I was like, that's interesting when I have thought of that, is pool noodles. So cutting down the side on one and then making a border with them and then having foam on the sides as well. And I was really intrigued, but it was the best package thing I had almost seen in the whole exhibition. You wouldn't think pool noodles would be the way, but it did work. So some people do get inventive, but if you're going to get inventive, do think about all the ways that box can be handled on its way to the gallery. Because there's nothing worse than when we get it, open it, and it's broken, and we have to come to you and say, hey, sorry, this is actually broken. We can't have it in the show. And most galleries won't take the time to fix it. They have a lot of other things going on, so they'll probably just ship it back to you broken. So just be aware of that. And I have a couple other questions. Do you insure every piece before shipping, and if so, how? So certain shipping companies will insure up to a certain point or certain monetary cost. And then after that, you have to pay more for each one. In my own work, I also work with glass. I insure every piece. Or I have insurance that also will cover it rather than paying that extra bit. So it depends if you have your own insurance or not. But also look at the fine detail of paying for that extra bit of insurance or monetary thing at the post office. I know sometimes some private shipping companies won't insure art pieces. Like, be very careful and read the fine detail. Yep, and Susan has a comment on that.
So when I was shipping things through UPS, they would insure it to whatever cost I asked them to insure it to, if they packed it. So I had to prove to them that I was packing at least as well or better, and then I was able to get them to insure my pieces. So you just have to check on that, because they are particular about what they do, but they use peanuts. And I got a call from a gallery in the middle of unpacking. It was a hot day and there were peanuts everywhere, and they were furious with me. So I don't let them pack it. I pack it and I've convinced them to let me insure it.
You can also go, I do use a shipping company that packs, there's Mayo Tiffany. They have their own shipping company. This is in Utica, so pretty specific, but you can look around your area for it. They have a shipping company that does just ship through UPS and FedEx, but that you can pay an extra fee and they'll pack it there and it's insured through them. And they use foam, so they're a glass company, so they know really well how to sew well. And when they do it, they even have some things with like spray foam, so it actually just expands into the shape. That's the ultimate type of foam to use. But they will insure it if they pack it. Now I work with neon, they will not insure neon. So I always hand deliver that. But most things other than neon, if it's either, checked, like Susan said, or packaged by the company, will be insured. And, oh, someone's brought up what we were talking about before. That's great that the Glass Art Society offers special shipping prices for glass artists. Are there any other special pricing offers for artists that you know of in terms of shipping? Yeah, we're two glass artists, so that's not, I'm not sure. I'm sure the Ceramic Society has one like this as well. But I would just check your society's benefits if you're part of any, because there's a lot of hidden benefits you get from being in societies, and shipping can be one of them. How should we send and return shipping labels and shipping fee to the gallery? Oh, this is a great question, because one of my little pet peeves is I will get a box. It won't be like this one, but it'll be one that's turned up like this, and I have to cut it, take the frame out. It has packing peanuts or just loads of stuffed in bubble wrap, but then the fee in the other shipping label is just stuffed in there somewheres. Now, I'm either gonna not find it unless I empty the whole box out, or I'm gonna think you didn't send one if it's really wrapped up inside in the piece. So I would recommend actually taping, and there's this purple tape, which is a delicate tape, so it won't damage your, the back of your frame or anything. But taping it to the back of the piece, or if you have a box like this that opens it up, have it taped. This person here has actually wrote a note and said, here's my return shipping label, and had it right next to it. So I had it taped to that flap when you open it. So it's in the most obvious place when we open it, because there's been one recently where the person had it shoved in a layer of the cardboard within the cardboard, and was like, no, I promise to return shipping labels there. And I looked and looked, had to take the whole box apart, and it was there, but just like crammed and crinkled up inside the cardboard. So be conscious of where you're putting it. Think about it in reverse. Think about like if you were the person opening it. And the shipping fees, same thing. You don't want that lost. So put that in the best spot, in the most obvious spot. And if there's any other questions, this is the time. Susan, do you have any other advice? Yeah. At least what we can think of. We are thinking about this from a glass standpoint, but it is the most fragile thing that in ceramics to ship. So if you package it like it's glass, it will get there. Okay, thank you for joining us. This is our last updating your professional practice. I'm really happy to see a lot of people returning and joining us again. And there's CADKs on for 1 more day, no, 3 more days. So if you would like to come and join us and see it in the last few days, we'd love to have you. And watch out for more programming like this on View's website. And we have a new show opening, Ripple and Roar, The Wonder of Water, along with Sandy Gellis, Ann Diggory, and Sarah Havland, all solo shows here at View. And that is opening next Friday, 5 to 7. And it'd be great to have you then too. Thank you. Bye.